That's good. I like that.
I'm sure you do. Taking a closer look.
Closer look.
We are going to do a movie that came out in 91, I think?
93.
93, that's right. Good one. It was first a TV series, and then they redid it in a movie.
Ron Huggins, man.
Well, let's give the title first. I'm
Oh,
sure
sorry.
they know exactly who that guy is.
Ron Huggins.
The Fugitive.
The Fugitive, man.
Tommy Lee Jones,
Harrison Ford. You want me to go with the rest of them? Or
Sure, why not?
Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, Daniel Roebuck.
That's the guy, he's in the Monsters remake, right?
Yes.
Grandfather, yeah.
Of course, we can get into the bad guys, but I like to save that until we introduce.
Sure, why not? But it's the series, it kind of mirrors the series a little bit, but it basically starts out, the beginning, they're at this crime scene. Something has happened, you're not quite sure what's happened yet. And again, I was too young to remember what the trailer gave away. I just know I can go by when I first watched it. Harrison Ford is basically taken into custody. He's a doctor, and then you find out his wife has been murdered.
Come on, Doc.
Murdered at their
And the
house.
way that they portray it at the beginning, you kind of wonder, did Harrison Ford do it? Because
Right.
there's flashbacks, and it's not nice. She's being thrown around. She's being killed.
Yeah, the last time I watched it, I tell you, when she took that blow to the head, you know,
Oh, gosh.
it really got to me, man. It was, but she says on the phone,
Well, see, yeah, we'll get to that. They're asking him questions.
Your house, it's a pretty good system you got there. Anyone have the coding? Anyone besides you and your wife?
Our maid knows what the code is and has a key to the house.
Those scratches on your neck, Doc, did the one-armed guy do that?
Helen scratched me when I was trying to move her.
Was that before or after you had the fight with the one-armed guy?
And they're saying, like, you know, what happened here, what happened there. And you can just sort of tell that they almost already assume that he did it.
and he's frustrated.
And he starts to get frustrated.
Are you suggesting that I killed my wife? You saying that I crushed her skull and that I shot her? How dare you?
Because they asked him, too, like, you got a scratch on your neck. He said, well, she scratched me as I was trying to move her. You know?
Right.
I mean, it's superficial, but anyway. And there are cops watching the interrogation. I think they come out and they say that
There's fingerprints all over the lamp, the gun, and the bullets. And the good doctor's skin is under her fingernails.
it all looks bad, but again, look, you know, your job is to look at everything.
Just as an aside, when you're talking about the other cops watching, if you look closely, there's Joe Casala and Ron Dean in there. And I know people generally, these are the kind of guys in the background. Just an FYI, these guys are actually PD, man.
Nice.
Joe Casala was, I think, former Chicago PD, because this takes place
Yeah, I was to say, did we say it was based in Chicago? So finally, yeah, like you said, he gets frustrated because they're asking him, like, oh, your wife's pretty well off. Well, I mean, again, he's a doctor. It's not like they're broke, you know.
Right.
And he finally says,
When I came home, there was a man in my house. I fought with this man. He had a mechanical arm.
Plastic?
You find this man. You find this man.
you find
You
this.
find this man.
And he's just had enough. And I mean, he just lost his wife, so he breaks down.
How tall is
He
he?
took
How tall is
everything
he?
from me. Oh, Jesus.
What do he weigh?
God.
What color was his hair? What color were his eyes? We can't help you until you help us.
Welcome.
Well, naturally, usually the first person of interest
Is always a husband. So the next scene is his trial, and they of course paint him as a cold-blooded killer.
Richard Kimball did in fact viciously attack and brutally murder his wife. But you will hear more than that. You will hear a voice from the grave the voice of Helen Kimball, identifying her killer, her husband, Richard Kimball.
And they of course paint him as a cold-blooded
Detective
killer.
Kelly,
And
can you tell
they
us
tell
what
him,
you
there was no
observed
sign
when
of
you
forced
arrived at the
entry,
home of
so
the
it must
victim
have
on the
been
night
him.
of the murder?
No forcible entry was found. From the beginning of the investigation, it didn't appear to be a break-in. Nothing was missing.
Honey, I'm home. Who won the game?
And then they play that
Defendant's
tape
prints
where
were
she
found
calls
with a gun and the
911.
bullets.
911.
Please help me.
What seems to be the problem, ma'am?
He's here still in the house.
Did I hear you right? Someone's in your house?
He's trying to kill me.
Would you repeat that, please? Ma'am?
He's trying to kill me.
Ma'am? Ma'am, is your attacker still in the house? Ma'am?
Richard.
Ma'am?
Richard. He's trying to kill me.
And the way she says it, she says to her husband's name, like, he's trying to kill me. But what she's saying, she's calling out to her husband, the guy's trying to kill me.
Yeah, but they read it
They
as...
read it as he was there,
Yeah.
and he was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Which is sad. So anyway, he gets convicted.
Kimball, having considered all the factors in aggravation and mitigation in this case and found the offense was brutal and indicative of wanton cruelty, it's a judgment of this court that you be remanded to Illinois State Penitentiary at Menard, where you will await execution by lethal injection on a date to be set forth by the Attorney General of the state. And may God have mercy on your soul.
So the next scene, they're going to transport him, I guess, to the maximum security or till he gets put on death row. Well, you know, again, I'm not 100% versed on this because I don't want to go to jail. But anyway, they're transporting him on a bus, which wouldn't be a movie if this went smoothly.
Yeah.
The inmates, which there's 3 of them.
Yeah, it's not a full bus by any means.
No, it's
Same
Harrison
kind of
Ford. It's a guy, he was in, I just had the movie he was in. But it's like Bo something Jr. But anyway, he was in another movie. But anyway, they devise a scheme. One of the inmates takes these Alka-Seltzer pills like he's having a seizure. The guards are locked up by the front. So one of the guards said, we got to help him. He's like, no, don't help him. Goes in there, he gets stabbed.
Yeah, you can't have a soft heart as a guard.
One of the guards, which I'm sure you know who is, the one with the shaved head, or not shaved, but he was balding. He starts shooting the prisoners.
Yeah, probably.
Which, again, I don't know if that's very ethical, but whatever. Well, one of the prisoners fights him, and they accidentally shoot the driver. Go figure. So the bus ends up taking a big tumble down the hill. And it lands on the railroad track.
That's one of probably the second most expensive stunt in the film.
Maybe.
As well, we're going to get into the first most expensive here in a minute.
Yeah. But so they land on the railroad tracks. The security guard, one of the prisoners, well, 2 security guards, and Harrison Ford and the other prisoner are the only ones left alive.
Yeah.
And they're saying, hey, you're a doctor, help this prisoner, or the security guard that's been stabbed. Well, he says, you hear the train coming.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
And he's like, help me. Well, they bail on him.
Give me a hand with this van. What the hell with you? Come on, give me a hand with this van! Kiss my ass, Doc.
So he gets the guy out, gets out of the bus. And he's running with shackles on, which is kind of humorous because the way he's running, there's a big train crash. It's just chaos.
That's what they were trying to sell in the original trailer. It was 12 years old. That was one of the big deals about this film.
Yeah, well, and I read too that they only had enough money for one shot.
Yeah, sure.
They hired insurance companies and guys that were professional that said what exactly would happen with this. So they did it the way they said, and it came off exactly the way they wanted to. Thank God, because there's no way they could have shot it again. Maybe it didn't go that way. They just say it was that way because they couldn't do it again.
The unfortunate part is, I know it's it's a funny aside, but Era's supporters, he can't do his iconic half run, half stumble, because he's in chains. But yeah,
so he's trying to climb out, but he's still in shackles. Well, the other prisoner helps him up. Takes the cuffs off his legs. Harrison Ford runs one way, the other guy runs the other way, and that's when all the security shows up, and then you get Tommy Lee Jones. Well, first he walks up. I love his coats because there's always like a secret compartment.
Oh, sir. Hi, who's in charge?
So he has two of his guys go down and take a look. Well, he goes to this circle with the guy that's in charge with the other prison guard that got off the bus. And he's talking about how he saved the other guard's life.
I don't know how. It's just still kind of hazy, but somehow I grabbed him and I pushed him out of the bus.
You're a brave man. You could have both been killed.
Yeah, I know. But hell, he's my partner. He would have done the same for me.
Excuse me, Sheriff. I'm Deputy United States Marshal Samuel Gerard. I'd like to talk to you.
I'll be with you in just a minute.
Okay.
Well, and he's like, so these prisoners are dead. What about Harrison Ford?
And this one?
Well, everything happened so fast. No, I don't think he made it.
And so he tells Tommy Lee Jones, like, you just wasted your time.
For nothing.
With all due respect, Sheriff Rollins, I'd like to recommend checkpoints on a 15-mile radius at I-57, I-24, and over here on Route 30.
And the guy's like, well, that'll just make people mad and flood my office with calls.
Well, wait a minute. The prisoners are all dead. And the only thing checkpoints are going to do is get a lot of good people frantic around here and flood my office with calls.
Well, shit, Sheriff. I'd hate to see that happen, so I guess I'll take over your investigation.
It's not so simple anymore.
And then he's something like, hey, guys.
Got it. Okay, boys, gather around here and listen up. We're shutting it down. Wyatt Earp's here to mop up.
Before you go, we're going to need...
Well, then guy shows up, your buddy from the Monsters.
Oh,
with
the Roebuck buddy.
With the leg irons.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, gee, we're surprised when we find leg irons with no legs. Where the hell are the keys, sir?
Who the hell are the keys, sir?
Me?
Where are those keys at?
I don't know.
Me?
What?
Do you want to change your bullshit story, sir?
He might have got out.
He might have got out.
What the hell?
And so then you get your iconic speech.
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven ground, barring injuries, 4 miles an hour. That gives us a radius of 6 miles.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to search.
Hard target search of every gas station.
Hen house, outhouse, doghouse.
Of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, or doghouse in that area.
But to give him credit, though, I say it in that I know Tommy Lee Jones is a native Texan, but again, it's just like a bullet point in this film. A lot of people, because again, I'm from Chicago, you talk that Midwestern accent, a lot of genuine Midwestern Chicagoites because they filmed it over there. And Tommy Lee Jones, my opinion, does a very credible one. I could be wrong, but that's the way I saw it.
I love how he just takes over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a commanding personality, man.
Well, you finally, Harrison Ford, he's hurt. So he needs attention. So he's going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Gets into the hospital, which is great. He just grabs, like a box of tomatoes and walks in, whatever. Goes in there, takes care of himself. And I love the scenes like that. Well, then in the next scene, he's in a guy's room, and he's got a beard. Well, he shaves the beard because he's trying to, blend in now.
Yeah, well, the beard is a pretty distinguishing mark there.
And I love he eats the guy's food too, and he's like licking his fingers and all. And ironically, because they know that they found a blood trail, so they're like, hey, send the fugitives pictured at hospitals and follow up with cops. So a cop goes there, he's got his picture. Ironically, they're walking down the hall, and you even see.
Hey, Doc, we're looking for a prisoner from that bus train wreck a couple hours ago. Might be hurt.
What does he look like?
6'1", 180, brown hair, brown eyes, beard. See anyone like that around?
Every time I look in the mirror, pal. Except for the beard, of course.
Nothing's slipping through their fingers.
So, and he runs into the wounded guard. Remember, he helps him get him out of the ambulance?
Yeah.
And he's about to say, that's the guy. Well, he puts it in. He's like, tell him he's got a puncture somewhere in his thing. How does he know that by looking at it? So, but he takes the ambulance, which I didn't get that. Like, I know you're trying to get away as fast as possible, but why would you steal something that they would know that has been stolen pretty quick?
Well, yeah, you can't really have time to call for a taxi.
No, I mean, I get he's trying to get away, but I just felt like that was a slip up. So they find that ambulance was stolen. They find out where it is. So there's a helicopter. They kind of block him out between two tunnel, and they're coming in from both sides.
Watch out!
Harrison Ford sneaks down the side, goes down this drainage pipe, and it's great because Tommy Lee Jones is just like, tell me, what do you got? And you're like, oh, got nothing. Like, what? And then they finally.
We gotta go for.
So they're running through this storm drainage. It's part of a dam, and it comes to a split. Two guys go this way. Tommy Lee Jones goes the other way.
Right.
Tommy Lee Jones slips down the slide.
You get the scene where he says, I didn't kill my wife.
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
I don't care. And
They say, too, I was reading that his line was supposed to be, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
But Tommy Lee Jones just said, he's so focused on his job, he wouldn't care if he's guilty or innocent. So that's when he said, I don't care.
Yeah, well, again, another sign of a great, detective or, police person. It's the job. I don't care if you're guilty or innocent. It's
My job is to bring you back in.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he chases him to the end of the tunnel. And, it's either that point, you either go in with Tommy Lee Jones and it's over. You're over.
Yeah.
So you might as well take the leap of faith. He jumps.
Over the head! Turn around! Richard, do you want to get shot? Now!
Yeah. Now, question is, and I know we've talked about this before, when he does the jump to escape, was that him?
I don't think it was him, no.
No.
So,
Well, he was looking at the death penalty anyway.
Yeah, so you're dead either way. So you might, like I said, you might as well take a chance. And then Tommy Lee Jones is telling everybody, hey, we still got to look for this guy. And I think they said something like, what are you, crazy? He's dead. Well, that ought to make him easy to catch then. But he did survive, floats down the river a ways, and then, kind of on the run again, he's limping. And then I read, too, that he had tore ligaments in his knee at the beginning of filming, but refused to have surgery so he could have that limp incorporated into his character.
That's Ford for you, honestly.
So, yeah, he's on the run. Well, then I think he finally stops to sleep. And then that's when you start to see flashbacks of a guy with a one arm. but obviously they don't. I think Harrison Ford stops at this gas station, dyes his hair, and they incorporate. He gets picked up by this woman, and the very next scene after he gets in the car, Joe Pantoliano says, "Oh, we found him. He slept with picked up by this girl. He's staying at his house."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh crap! What Harrison? What are you doing?" Well, it was the other prisoner. That they end up catching.
Yeah, the guy who, he did help Ford out of his shackles and all that. But
Yeah, but he's no longer useful. So he gets
tied loose ends.
Yeah, he gets captured and all that. So Harrison Ford goes back to Chicago, the scene of the crime, basically, because he wants to
clear his name.
I think the first thing he does is call his lawyer, and his lawyer's like, you need to turn yourself in. Yeah. But it's like, I feel like his lawyer was useless. He didn't help him at all.
Well, I forgot who played the lawyer, but I know it was another famous character actor.
Yeah, he did all right. Yeah. He was only in a few scenes, but yeah.
Wow.
So he's obviously needs money, so he goes to see his friend.
Yeah.
Outside his country tennis club or something, and he's like, "I need money," and he's like, "Well, get in. I'll get I just give me what you got." And he rents a room with foreigners and starts going to the hospital. So he takes a guy's name badge, gets the same color, same lookalike uniform that they wear, and he's going to play as a janitor. So he goes in there, goes to try to figure out the guy's.
Yeah, he's trying to do some research.
Yeah, gets it narrowed down to 5 names, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah, this guy isn't a data analyst; he's a doctor.
He is a doctor, and he's a good one though. And it's funny. So they know he's in Chicago. So I love the scene with Tommy Lee Jones because he gets the 2 detectives. So why did he kill his wife? He did it for the money. And even Tommy Lee Jones, what do you mean? He's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
He's rich. Well, she was more rich. Even then, you're like, there's no way. But anyway,
she was the dad.
So there's flash, while he's getting ready to infiltrate, that's showing what Tommy Lee Jones and they're doing. They revisit the crime scene. They're trying to, figure out. They even go see his tennis buddy, and he even tells him like, "Yeah, I saw him and I gave him some money," which to me is aiding and abetting. But
so what?
We don't go down where they don't ever threaten to arrest him.
Well, and this is the cool thing because whereas before it's a progression and it's cool progressions before, like you said, Tommy Jones is like, I don't care, but now it's not,
it's not cut and dry anymore.
Well, yeah, and it's not necessarily they believe him or nothing like they don't know anything yet, but all they know is what's going on. Why
is he doing this?
Why is he so invested in
Yeah.
Want help, gentlemen? You've come to the wrong man. Richard is innocent. You'll never find him. He's too smart.
We're pretty smart guys.
Yeah, what about us?
Last time I looked.
Yeah, we're smart. We are. How smart could he be, really? Is he as smart as you are?
Smarter.
So, like I said, he does infiltrate the hospital, gets the names, gets it down to 5 names. So he's like, I just got to cross off these 5 names, find the guy. Well, it comes to one of my favorite scenes of the movie. He's walking towards, I guess, like the emergency room, and it seems like the emergency room is just overfull. They spilled out into the hallway. Like there are people in beds in the hallways. And he kind of walks up on this kid, and you can hear him complaining like he can't breathe, his chest hurts. Well, there's a doctor, Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore's small part.
And there's another guy doctor who actually looks like a friend of mine's dad back in the day. But anyway, so she tells him to check him. Well, he's checking him, but you hear Harrison Ford like, look at the X-ray, like check the film, and he won't. And it's not that he's a bad doctor; it's just pressure. You're trying to do your job, but you're under time constraints. So before he can even check the film, she says, "What's the status?" Well, he just gives it out. But I think it's just a sternum fracture, but he's okay. So they ask Harrison Ford to take him to an observation room.
How you doing, champ? How you feeling?
My chest hurt.
Yeah? Does it hurt when you breathe?
Yes.
What's your name?
Joel.
And he must immediately know what's going on because he says, we're going to take care of you. He takes him to an elevator. He changes the order.
Yeah. Where's your mom, pal?
Oh, no.
Is she home?
She's with my brother.
Your brother? Are they downstairs?
Oh.
Don't you worry. We'll get hold of her for you.
for an emergency surgery.
Football player?
I'm not a
Baseball player?
doctor. I can't only speculate that the kid may have had a collapsed lung, which is very serious. You can't die from that. So he changed the orders, takes him to surgery, and shows this other doctor, hey, they sent this from.
Hey, doctor. They sent this one up from downstairs.
Bob, get this one into room 4, stat.
Bye-bye, Jewel.
And so Julianne Moore wonders where the kid is, finds out that he went to surgery, confronts Harrison Ford.
Hey, you have a particular interest in our patient's x-rays?
What do you mean?
I saw you looking at that boy's chest film.
It's a hobby of mine.
It's a hobby, really?
Yeah.
What are your other hobbies? Brain surgery?
What do you want?
I want to know how that boy ended up in surgery.
Look, I'm a janitor. I do what I'm told.
That's bullshit. Who changed those orders?
I don't know what you mean.
Evidently, she recognizes him because she's looking right at him. She says, call security. Well, he runs off. Tommy Lee Jones and them show up, and he's talking to Julianne Moore.
So a guy disguised as a janitor orders an emergency medical procedure, and the only thing you do to him is take away his ID card.
No. I called security, and he took off down the hall. What was I supposed to do? Listen, Mr.
Deputy Gerard.
I'm really tired. I'd like to go home now.
Okay. How's the boy doing?
You saved his life.
So it's just that scene where, you know, he drops the kid off and he tells him bye, and it's like, you could just tell, like, he almost felt normal for a second.
It furthers the narrative of the film, and too, it shows, of course, it's the character progression, it's his compassion.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see him as a doctor early in the film, performing surgeries. We only knew it. So this, actually, you get an inside view into how he is.
Well, it shows, too, that, again, if this guy's a cold-blooded killer, he's not going to take time to save some kid's life.
It gives Tommy Lee Jones more of a reason to go, what's going on here?
That he even, Pagliano there in the hospital, he says, why is he walking around here acting like Mother Teresa?
Right, exactly.
Well, then the guy walks by with no arm.
Yeah.
And they follow him, and they're like, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
Well, they get the list, but they only get it narrowed down to like 300 or 70 possibilities or something. I think Pagliano's like, 70? So they have to go through that list.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford's calling the list. I think one of them's dead, or one of them they took away the prosthetic. He said, we did. I remember he's something like, we did. I'm terribly sorry. Well,
Health insurance wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah. There's one guy, he's in jail for armed robbery. And again, it wouldn't have been a movie, because if it were me, I'd be like, well, let me check this other names. And if it doesn't come through, then I'll go visit this guy in prison.
Right.
He goes to him, and I'm like, man, that is risky.
So the prison he went to, was that Cook County Jail?
I don't know. I mean, I just know he goes to jail.
That's the major.
Because they asked him, they said, where's he located? And he goes up there, and he must have a false ID, because he gives him a false ID. He sits down and waits. Tommy Lee Jones and his crew evidently find that this guy has a criminal record, so we got to check this guy out. Right behind Harrison Ford. So I love Harrison Ford sitting there while they bring him out, and he's obviously not the same race.
Yeah.
And you see him like, oh, dang it. And so the guy's like, what do you want? Who are you? And he said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. He said, no, you might as well talk to me. There's no TV around here. So he leaves. So he's taking the stairs down, and then they cross paths at the stairs. Chasing him, and I love that where they get downstairs and Harrison Ford's running, but he's trying not to run because you don't want to draw attention, and he goes to the opposite. There's a guy with a gun, he's got a red scarf on, so they tackle Tommy Lee Jones. Finally they realize
Very smart.
Yeah, he's a U.S. Marshal, so they lock it down, And it's great. So he runs right as the doors are closing. That's great. And then I heard that he argued for days that my character wouldn't just open fire with a lot of civilians around, but they told him it's a dramatic part, so he ended up doing it.
Yeah, in question too, but I guess by that point he's still doing his job, no matter what kind of, I'm going to say compassion, but what kind of credibility Ford's character now has in his eyes. He
still has to bring him in. That's his job.
Yep.
So Harrison Ford gets away and he runs to the Chicago St. Patty's Day parade.
Man, that's awesome, dude. That's one of the staples in Chicago, man.
And evidently, too, that they got permission from the mayor and all that. They didn't know what to do it. They just turned the cameras on. Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford just ran out. And Harrison Ford even said, I just walked in between, I think it was the plumbers union or something that were walking. He just walked in there, put a hat on, and that was it. But so they're chasing him. He's in the parade, but they can't find him because there's a lot of things going on. Yeah. So he gets away.
There's definitely no arthritis in this group.
And Tommy Lee Jones is adamant about not using the press. Well, finally he gives in and uses it.
Deputy Gerard, why do you feel that Dr. Kimball came back to Chicago?
I have no idea.
Marshal, we understand your deputies were at County Hospital today. Was Dr. Kimball at County Hospital?
I don't have any comment on that one.
Guilty.
What are you going to do next to try to catch him?
We have no further comments at this time.
So Harrison Ford, the next scene comes out of it looks like a danky motel, but then again, you got no money.
Yeah.
He's changed his appearance again. He's washed the dye out, but it still looks like Harrison Ford.
Because he's got some gray in his hair.
Yeah, well, it's all gray now. He just washed the dye out. And he's got one guy left on the list and gets to his apartment. And when you see the picture, you know he's found his guy. Which, again, he would have avoided all that mess at the damn parade and the police station. He just take everybody before going to the jail. But anyway.
Well, yeah.
But it's your buddy.
Andreas Katsoulis.
So, yeah.
I love Andreas Katsoulis, man. He was it. Well, he was in Communion, and he was in Babylon 5. I remember anybody watched the sci-fi series Babylon 5. He had a great role.
So, Harrison Ford is looking through the apartment. He finds evidence that he feels is substantial. And I mean, he's found his guy, too. So he calls Tommy Lee Jones. And it's great because they're like, got another Kimball online, too. And then he's...
Yeah, this is Gerard.
Do you remember what I told you in the tunnel?
We ought to be sipping some whiskey.
And it's great, too, because he doesn't hang up the phone. He just slams it on the table. And Tommy, he didn't hang up. So we got the address.
Yeah.
So they go there. Then your boy shows up. His name's Sykes, I think.
Yeah,
in the movie.
Sykes.
Yeah. And you could just tell that he's dirty from the beginning. You can just tell. Even Tommy Lee Jones, like, he asks him questions.
I'm Samuel Gerard, United States Marshal's Office. This morning, a fugitive named Richard Kimball made a telephone call from this apartment. Why would he do that?
Richard Kimball? I don't know any Richard Kimball.
And he kind of gives him vague answers.
Does he have a reason to come after you?
Well, hell yes, I have a prosthetic arm. I must have murdered his wife, right?
But he's like, oh, I was out of town.
15 people verified it.
He's automatically telling, oh, I have 15 witnesses. Oh, come on, man. I ain't even charged you with anything, and you're like already lining up the gauntlet here.
Well, that's one of the first red flags, isn't it?
Of course. Because he walks out and Tommy Lee just, I'm like, this guy's dirty.
Yeah.
So they already know. And so Harrison Ford calls his friend again. He's like, I think I found him. I need your help. I want to go to the hospital. Because it all has to do with this drug that's supposed to help. I forget what it's supposed to help. Cancer or something.
It was cancer research is what they were doing.
But it causes liver damage. And that's what Harrison Ford was telling him. This is causing liver damage. Well, it's a lot of money involved. So that's why. I don't know if they were there to kill Harrison Ford's wife. I think they were there to kill him. But the wife was collateral damage. And then once he got pinned for it, it was perfect. But so
you would hire
he wants to go check. Yeah. So he checks these blood tissues, these liver samples. And that he feels like once he gets that, he has all the evidence he needs. Well, at the same time, somebody's calling Sykes that we got to take out Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So, and Tommy Lee Jones is trying to figure things out, and he's reading a book. I remember one of the scenes where he's reading his hospital. He's like, he made $7 billion. This company made that company. Why would Harrison Ford kill his wife? That's basically what he's saying. Even though he doesn't say that,
Yeah.
he's saying like he doesn't need to kill his wife.
Does it not for the money? I guess, like you said, that what he's banking on now, what he's putting all his eggs in the basket is those
the tissue samples.
The tissue samples. Yeah.
Well, so he sees an old friend, and they confirm, but then she tells him like, this guy couldn't have done it. It was somebody else. Somebody else had access.
Yeah.
He knows who it is.
Yep.
He immediately said, I got to go see a friend.
His buddy.
Yeah. The buddy that's been helping him, which is very weird. But anyway, so he's leaving the hospital, and Sykes is on. Tommy Lee Jones is trying to figure out what's going on. Well, somebody comes in.
Sam, you're not going to believe this. I checked Sykes' records for the past 2 years against Kimball, found nothing.
That was a thought.
Yeah, but when I cross-checked Kimball's phone records, one came up. Kimball called Sykes.
Get Sykes in here now.
On the night of his wife's murder, 7:30 p.m., from his car phone.
So automatically, Sykes is lying. So they want to get Sykes, but obviously he's gone. So they know something's up. They've almost figured this out. Well, Harrison Ford's on the train. He gets noticed.
Yeah, but...
And then when he goes, because I don't know what he's going to do, but he knows that the civilian's going to go get a cop. Well, as he gets up to see what's going on, that's when Sykes is there. They have a little back and forth. Again, this is a one-on-one man. How you going to beat the shit out of him? He does get the upper hand.
Yeah, but it's not he's a doctor.
Yeah, but so he knocks him out.
Mr. Stop.
And his friend this whole time, I wanted to mention too, his name, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but his name is Jerome Crabe.
I've never seen him in anything else.
He's been in a few other films. I think he was...
So Harrison Ford gets to the convention. Tommy Lee Jones pulls up. Chicago PD's already got the place. Turn around and even I love this scene too because Tommy Lee Jones is like, that's my man. And they're like, not anymore. You just stay out of it. And Tommy, arrest us. And he just walks right in. So, Harrison Ford goes to the convention and just walks in. Everybody starts, oh my God, it's him. It's him. Finally, he tells him, like, I can prove everything. It was you the whole time. They have a little fight.
You never give up, Richard, do you? You never give up!
Out on the roof. It spirals to a elevator shaft that they fall down in. That would have killed me. I know that.
And these guys are in their
40s, probably 50s.
Yeah.
It stops at the laundromat. They're both hiding. Harrison Ford and
Jerome Crabe.
Yeah, I'll never remember that. And so they're looking. Pat Tiliano and Tommy Lee Jones are quietly looking. Well, finally, Tommy Lee Jones starts yelling.
Dr. Richard Kimball! There's no way out of here, Richard! The entire building is locked down! Give it up, Richard. You don't have any time. Chicago Police Department thinks you're a cop killer. They will shoot you on sight.
And then finally you hear him go, I know you were innocent.
Richard, I know you're innocent. I know about Frederick Sykes. I know about Dr. Charles Nichols.
Yeah. And, I know about this.
Richard, he borrowed your car the night of your wife's murder. He had the keys. No forced entry, Richard.
And the doctor now knows
he's got no way out.
Your car, Richard.
So he takes out Pat Tiliano, which I had read too that Pat Tiliano was supposed to die.
Yeah.
But he lobbied for his character to live in case there was a sequel. Smart man. So, but he knocks him out, takes his gun, and Tommy Lee Jones says something like, either I'm lying or I'm going to shoot you. Yeah. And he said,
give it up. It's time to stop running.
So, and I love that scene where he's, Harrison Ford's like,
They killed my wife.
They killed my wife, and he's like, I know it.
I know.
And it's over. And I'm like, you know, I'm glad.
I need to rest.
It's just it's a great scene how it ends. The music, it's not uplifting, but it's almost like a resolution. It's not uplifting because he still lost his life, and there's still a lot of logistics that's got to be figured out.
And a lot of damage along the way that he technically directed.
So they walk him out. It's great because in the Chicago pleading is still behind it. He was convicted of it. That's all I know. They walk him out. They want to get to him, but they can't. It's a great scene at the end. They put him in the car, and Tommy Lee Jones is sitting in the back seat with him.
See those hands, Doctor.
Thought you didn't care.
I don't. Don't tell anybody, okay?
And then they drive off, and you want to assume everything's great, but again, he's going to have to go back into custody.
Yep.
And again, and they're saying that I was reading something on the legal side of this that it wouldn't abolish everything he did. He would still escape from prison, still resisted arrest. But again, you can argue the fact that if he didn't do that, he would have been dead.
When I saw it, I was 12, years old, 12, 13 years old. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about it. I was so glad that was the happy ending.
That I'd look at it that way too, but then you think about it afterwards.
Yeah,
the older you
when
get.
the older you get, yeah.
But yeah, that's the movie. But what do you rate this film?
Oh, dude, I loved it since I first saw it. Fugitive was on my radar. I don't remember specifically going to the theater to see it, but 20 out of 10, man. I'm telling you, it just really was a great film.
It's on my top. It would be one of my top all times. I can't put a number on it because that's so hard to do because there's so many great films. I remember the first time I watched it was with my old best friend's parents, and I only remember clips. I remember the clip, like I said, where he shoots him and it's bulletproof glass. And I remember his dad going, "Bulletproof effing glass." But I remember enjoying it, and then I watched it with my parents, and then I didn't watch it for a long time, and then I ended up buying the DVD and watching it, and I've just been a big fan of it since.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, just the, about it being legitimate as far as where it was filmed and all that.
Definitely. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. I can't recommend the series because I've never seen it. I just read clip notes of it.
In the series, if I'm not mistaken, the series at the end, it's not a happy ending. He actually goes down.
Yeah.
And he gets, I think it was the series, at the end of the series, he gets executed.
Wow.
Professing his innocence the whole way.
That's
dark. So this is a happy
This is much better. And we will do a follow-up to this because there was a sequel to Tommy Lee Jones's character, not Harrison Ford's, that was called U.S. Marshal. So be on the lookout for that. Let us know what you think of this. If you've seen it, tell us. If you haven't, check it out. Let us know what you think.
That beard, I was so jealous of that.
You got it right now. What jealous?